Variety in viable guns is king. The more guns are viable, the more the game is fun. Hello everyone, Lorenzo here. As the ignition playtest of Arena Breakout Infinite is coming to an end, I would like to share some of the points of improvement that I think the developers should seriously consider in order to, in my own opinion, improve the gameplay in the upcoming, Ignition and eventually Season 2. Now, if you're not up to date, I highly advise you check out the video that I did a couple days ago where I go through a first look of Ignition. In this video that I'm now linking up here, there I went through a lot of the positive updates that are also coming, of which there are several things that are going to make this game more enjoyable. There's also things didn't necessarily get better and in some cases even got worse. Now, the things that in my opinion could use a second look. Number one, player bots. Player bots are still in the game, and let's be honest, they just completely ruin the immersion. They should be removed, but if they must stay in the game, just make them good. Either fully commit to making the PvE experience more interesting, or just remove them altogether. Which, by the way, is the option that I still prefer. In the same vein as this, Scavs, at least in my experience in the playtest, got massively nerfed. Literally, I was walking up to Scavs, they were shooting at me, and they just kept missing me. Yes, shotgun Scavs are currently broken. They're annoying, I totally get that. But this is also just... I feel like Scavs should be a little bit more of a threat than how they are in the playtest. Now, moving on to my third point. The effective range of assault rifles got nerfed again. I really find this to be problematic, and I've said this in a video before already. An assault rifle having a 30, 40, 50 meter effective range is simply unrealistic and just doesn't do these platforms any justice. Assault rifles are supposed to be versatile, and sure, they shouldn't be as accurate as a carbine, as a marksman rifle, or as a bolt-action sniper rifle. But you should definitely be able to still 2 or 3 tap someone in the chest with it at like 50, 60, 70 meter range. I understand that the developers are trying to prevent ratting. So sitting with an AR in a bush, waiting for someone to walk past and just bring them down. The thing is, people just find other weapons to rat with. The problem is that now for everyone else, also people that want to run and gun, people that want to play the game at a medium pace, they now are basically forced to run M110, Mosin, the upcoming SVTU, everyone's gonna be using that. Because it's basically just a semi-automatic Mosin. Also, like, what's the definition of ratting? For me, a rat is an extraction camper. But somebody who enjoys playing the game slow, somebody who enjoys stalking their prey, and someone who sits somewhere for a few minutes just trying to gather information about what's happening in a certain location on the map, for me that's not ratting. Maybe this will be an unpopular thought with some of you, but for me that's a viable playstyle. So basically making ARs and tier 4 ammo ineffective to curb a playstyle which, I don't know, in my opinion is acceptable in the context of extraction shooters, only to then just basically get the rats to use other weapons anyway, but then also making the weapon systems less interesting for everyone else who does want to run ARs and does want to rush and do all that with an AR, with tier 4 ammo. That just doesn't seem very clever to me from the developer's side. So basically my point here is variety in viable guns is king. The more guns are viable, the more the game is fun. People get bored of running the M110, the Mosin, the SVTU, whatever, back to back to back. And people, especially the Chads, who constantly get killed by the same guns, by the same M110, by the same Mosin, whatever, over and over again, it drives them away from the game too. So in my opinion, whether you're a rat, whether you're a Chad, and everything in between, ARs and tier 4 ammo getting nerfed so much, it doesn't benefit anyone. And the rats are still gonna rat regardless. Please increase the effective range of assault rifles, roll back that head HP increase update, strengthen tier 4 ammo. Every playstyle is going to benefit from that. Tier 6 ammo, which very much ties into my previous point, can still just be bought on the market. And yeah, the issue is that what I just explained, in my opinion, also kind of defeats the purpose of high risk, high reward gameplay. No one is going to want to run tier 6 armor if you know that you can just get one-tapped by a naked guy with a Mosin, right? I do think that naked guys with Mosins should have a chance to kill juiced players. Don't get me wrong. So I feel like there does need to be a Chad killer that isn't too expensive. There needs to still be a threat to those kinds of players too. But if the ammo that allows you to do that is constantly and widely available on the market, then that really kills that high risk, high reward aspect of the game. On the other hand, if for example M61 ammo or SNB ammo was found in raid only and a very rare loot drop, then yes, it would still be viable to kill Chad T6 players, Moto players with a Mosin, but then it would just be a bit less common, right? Because you'd need to get your hands on that ammo before you can gear up with your Mosin and go kill those juiced guys. So instead of being able to do that, say, every single raid over and over again, you'd only be able to do that every now and then, which in my opinion, that's totally acceptable. And I think also, you know, Chads and like tier 6 juicers and runners and gunners and multi-millionaire players should be okay with that. But I understand if they're not okay with that, if this is happening to them every single raid, then they're gonna start thinking, what's the point of me investing millions in a kit, right? So make tier 6 ammo only found in raid. And by the way, the same thing, in my opinion, should go for thermals. Point number 7. My point number 7 is something that I just don't really agree with as a change as a whole, and it's this nerfing friendly fire with grenades. I don't know, for me, is this really a problem that needs to be fixed? If they really nerf them as much as they did in this playtest, here's what's gonna happen. Big Chad squads, 4-mans running full tier 6 armor, they're going to push you inside houses while their buddies outside are chucking an infinite amount of grenades inside the house and killing you whilst not killing their teammates that are rushing you at the same time. I really believe that grenades not damaging teammates as much could really lead to abuse. There needs to be punishment for sloppy grenade use. Otherwise, like, this tactical element will completely be ruined. You can't have people nading you and rushing you at the same time. And finally, and this is something that I'm not really sure if it's good or bad, but there have been some changes to farm. With my mates, we actually got into an empty server in the Ignition playtest. We walked around farm, which is my favorite map, by the way, and we saw that, so there's a few changes. There's a new area of the map, and also they closed a lot of windows. there are some key strategic windows that give you some very important lines of sight in the map that have been closed. What do you guys think about this? Because I'm of two minds about it. On one hand, I don't really like this change because basically the enemy team can literally camp 1 or 2 doors and 1 window, and you literally have no way to get out. So going inside a building is literally a high risk move. If the loot inside that building is not good, then what's the point of going in the building? There were certain buildings where going in was actually a high reward move because a certain window gives you enough cover and a very good line of sight on strategic points of interest. But now, in many cases, that's taken away. That's not the case anymore. So what's the point in going second floor grain center? What's the point of going second floor scav house in the southern wheat field? It seems to me like they want to push players outside. Yes, in a way, it's harder to push buildings because you only have you have fewer points of access, especially with grenades. But I think now it's even much more harder for people inside buildings to get out, or at least to defend the building, because they have less points that they can shoot out of. And so this essentially makes your building defense tactic a lot more predictable. So I don't really know how I feel about this. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of my analysis of the things that I believe can still be improved in Ignition. That's it. I'm super excited for April 29th, and yeah, I really hope the devs consider some of these things. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Keep it civil. Very happy to hear your thoughts, and without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.